It's the 11th of January 2019. I'm David Griffin. I'm here at Quarndon Cricket Club in Derbyshire, and I'm talking to
Stuart Underwood
and
Malcolm Chapman.
Gentlemen, thanks ever so much for joining me. It's a lovely, beautiful setting here at Quarndon, and I know Quarndon, the cricket club's been in existence for a long time, and I understand it goes back to the 1800s. What do you know about the formation or the origins of Quarndon Cricket Club?
Bugger all.
Oh, very little as far as that. The first time I played here would have been in '57, and that was against Quarndon for British Rail Erectors, and the ground was nothing like it is now. They used to have a path, the old President's path down to the square.
Yeah.
The outfield was long. The wickets weren't very good, and on that particular day, Quarndon had William Richardson playing for them.
All right, as in one of the Richardson family, that because Arthur had played for captain Derbyshire.
That's right.
In the 30s.
And William captained Derbyshire seconds and played when required for the first.
So what kind of cricket was Quarndon playing then at its inception? That first sort of
Purely
50,
village.
60 years?
Purely village cricket. Village
Right.
cricket,
Yeah.
not league cricket.
It was not playing of a particularly high standard, but they had some good players in amongst them.
Yeah. And do we know how the ground came to why Quarndon? But who was at the heart of setting a cricket club up? Were there any particular individuals, or was it by accident?
Well, you would have thought it would be something. It would be one of the Richardsons, one of the Richardson family.
Yeah.
Maybe Arthur.
Yes.
But that was obviously came later. That wasn't in the 1880s. So I wouldn't know. I don't think anybody will be able to tell you. But I would have thought Arthur would have been instrumental.
Yes.
But it belongs to Kedleston.
Yeah, it belongs to Kedleston
Right.
Estates.
Oh right.
The estate.
And in the old days, when I first came here in '67, late '67, the summer, the rent wasn't money; it was brandy.
Really?
You used to deliver a case of brandy to Lord Scarsdale.
Yeah.
That was the rent.
So not dissimilar really to Shipley Hall up the road, who were very much the similar sort of. There was the old hall and the park and everything, and the ground was a part of that. So when you came in playing.
Well, I played here in '57. I started playing here in '66, and I played first of all in the league late '67, and then in '68 when we won the second division.
And when was your association?
'68, really.
Right.
Yeah, but I came here in '67.
And where did your cricketing journey begin?
Well, I'll tell you how I came here. I was a student at Nottingham, and I used to travel on a bus, the Barton Express, every morning. And I sat next to this lady called Mrs. Marshall. I didn't know Mrs. Marshall. We actually got talking about cricket, and it so happened that her husband was a old member of Quarndon Cricket Club, Ken Marshall.
Yeah.
Right.
He's quite a well-known character around, obviously deceased now. And he persuaded me to come up to, or she persuaded me to come up to Quarndon.
And where were you living at that time then, Stuart? Were you local?
Yeah, in Derby,
Right.
but not up in Quarndon. And I came up one Sunday. I was invited up one Sunday morning, and you'd laugh, but the first job I had to do was clean out the ladies' toilets. And they weren't flush toilets, it was an else pan. That was, I can't imagine anybody doing it now, but that's...
And that was on what day of the week? On
a Sunday.
match day?
I came up on a Sunday morning.
Right.
And everybody used to have to come up on a Friday night to roll the wicket with a hand roller. It was a huge roller. No motorisation.
Difficult to believe this is in our life.
Yeah, that's right.
Really,
and this place didn't exist, nor did the framework, did it, Mark?
No.
So what facilities were there then? You said it was fairly...
It was a typical wooden pavilion,
Small,
but very small.
Very
the tea
small.
room was the biggest room of the other two dressing rooms. There was, as Stuart said, there was no toilets. There was
no showers.
a sort of fabricated building with a Hessian toilet and a usual gravel pit for urinal.
Yeah.
And the outfield, when it was cut by gang mowers, of which we retained one or two here, and the other one was at Muggington.
Yeah.
So if we wanted all three, the farmer had to go and fetch it.
And they belonged to Arthur Richardson.
Right.
just incidentally.
Right.
Yeah.
And what were the pitches like?
No.
Initially, very average, I think.
Was there a regular groundsman, or
No.
was it
No.
volunteer
No,
work?
it was all volunteer work. It was cut, rolled, marked out and played on. And basically that was it, a small square. The ground was nowhere near as big as it is now.
And were people coming to watch you at this time?
Oh yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
got crowds.
Villagers
Not
used
big,
to
not
come
big.
up.
Who?
The villagers
Yeah,
came
they
up.
did. They came up.
Yeah.
There was no bar, obviously nowhere to drink because everybody used to congregate in the joiners.
Yeah.
Um,
And what was the standard of cricket like then? If we talk, because you both came 60s to play. So what was the standard of?
I thought 68. I
cricket
thought
then?
the standard was quite good.
Yeah, it was.
It really was because the clubs then, and they don't have it now, but all clubs in the division we played in, they all had about 4 or 5 really good cricketers, and they used to have 3 or 4 bowlers that could bowl line and length, and that's obviously not the case now.
Yeah.
So I think the standard was quite good, chappers.
Oh yeah, it was. I mean, when I first started playing in the league, we had a guy called Vic Bentley, who during his national service had played for Kent Seconds, and he could have played county cricket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
good player.
Unfortunately, he died very young. He died at 33.
And who were your standout players? With due modesty, who were your sort of standout players?
Vic Bentley.
Yeah.
Vic Bentley, definitely here.
Good player.
And did you get a look at the Derbyshire players at that time?
No. It was
No.
never. There were no professionals in the league.
Right.
It was only just coming in a few years later when Langley Mill
Yes.
were the first ones, and they had Fred Rumsey. They signed
Yeah.
Fred Rumsey.
I suspect that people were being paid.
Yeah, that's
Some grounds had a collection if you got a score,
Yeah.
but there was no professionally signed on players.
And who were your? Was there a team that you particularly enjoyed playing against, or
Yeah.
one you particularly enjoyed beating?
Well, actually, to be honest, in those days there was much more. Wasn't there much more friendship with the teams?
Yes, there was.
Like, for example, one of the top teams were A and B.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Well, we used to have dues here that they would stay. Well, when we had a bar after
Yeah.
'76, they used to come here and have a drink, and then we'd go to a party at A and B. I thought
That's right.
we got on very well with them, didn't we?
Darlydale was the same.
Darlydale. I mean, dreadful now because you wouldn't dream of doing what we did at Darlydale. You never drive back because they had a piano there, and
Yeah.
do you remember that night?
Totally
Chappers?
used to go on.
Yeah.
But we used to go, before we had a bar, we used to go in the joiners, you see.
Yeah,
and
that's
it was
right.
great. Everybody went to the joiner.
And when did this? Because we're sitting in a very smart facility and we're surrounded by pictures and photographs and
Well, what happened?
honest boards. So
yeah.
how did this come about?
Well, what happened was that we're very fortunate. We had 2 people. Vic Bentley used to work for Ford and Westerns,
Yes.
and Terry Blount worked for Ford and Westerns.
Yeah.
And it was quite a performance. Actually,
They were high up.
They brought what would you describe it as? The outside of this or the inside of this building. They
Oh,
brought
right. It was an army, like an army Nissan.
Right. Yeah.
And we built round it.
Yeah.
Right.
But then it was something really big for the club to have
Yeah.
something like that because
So
you
how
had
did
decent dressing
you
rooms.
manage and fund things like that at that
Just
time?
subscription.
Really?
Yeah.
So no local benefactor or
No.
just what
No.
you could do yourself. You talk about going into the Border League, and of course the Border League was considered to be a very, very high standard
Yes.
of cricket, and you won it. So when you won it, did it come as a surprise to you, or was Quarndon building towards that?
That's a long time after the
Sure.
60s.
Yeah,
He was
the first time we got a trophy was we won the second division in '68,
Yeah.
and then went from there on.
And some cup triumphs as well, I understand, of the in the Jackson Cup in the
Yeah.
70s.
That was
as well.
that in the 70s. Fair to say that was a really good competition, strong competition. Everybody wanted to win it. Everybody wanted to win the Jackson. Lots of prestige.
Yeah.
You used to get more at the county ground watching the Jackson
Yeah.
than you ever did watching Derbyshire.
Yes.
Yeah,
Sad but true.
it was. But I mean, he was a local,
Yeah.
and it was.
Who
And
did you beat the first time?
Aston on Trent.
That was 75. You won it 75, 79,
Yeah.
2005.
And then we beat Long Eaton Old Boys, who were always the favourites for the competition every year.
Really?
Yeah, they had a good side, Long Eaton Old Boys.
And had you, by this time in the 70s, you talked about in the 60s, you'd not got professionals?
No,
but
no
it's
professionals.
Still non
no.
Still non-pro now.
Eric Hurst was captain the first time we won it.
Yes.
Bloody close, actually, Chapman, if you remember.
Mm.
But it was a good competition, competitive competition.
And so I want to ask about your own cricketing prowess, or I know you're going to be really modest about this, but batsman, bowler, what was your strength?
I used to bat.
Chappers was
batting him,
I'll talk about
Chappers.
He was a very, very good batter, very correct, good driver, good, unfortunately, good hooker, good puller, and he got bad eye damage, hooking.
Right.
Good player, great short. Oh, I must tell you, I'll tell you this. Okay, we used to have some fun. We did have fun in those days, didn't we? A lot of fun. He used to field short leg, right? And John Morris, who's not with us now, he used to open the bowling, come down the hill, and used to bowl the worst ball that anybody could possibly bowl, first ball. And it used to be a long, full toss, long hop outside legs, which used to disappear over Chappers' head, and then Chappers would walk back to square leg. It was the highlight of the season, highlight of the game, wasn't it? Really? Yeah. And then he would
used to
step
bowl
up.
it very full, John.
Yeah,
It wasn't easy to feel short leg.
And Chappers would go. I could tell you a few stories about Chappers. Yeah. Yeah, he was good batter.
Really good bat.
Yeah, he's a good batter, Chappers was. And the only thing is, I do remember him against a very good leg spinner at Langley Mill that he couldn't read, and that was Longy.
Oh yeah.
David Long was a fabulous bowler.
Chris and I'll tell you a story about that.
And he couldn't read his wrong one. Well, I'm not sure many people did. He was a very good bowler. But yeah, good player, Chappers.
I've got to let you get your own back now and tell us about Stuart.
Well, Stuart was good. He played Derbyshire seconds. He was a really good all-rounder. Very, on the pitches here then, very difficult to bat against because it did a bit, and he was quick and high enough for it to do. Pleasure to feel short-legged. Wonderful times at short-leg.
Yeah.
And he used to open the batting. In fact, he used to bowl 23 overs and open the batting. And the rest of us fielded and batted.
Why is everybody behind me laughing about that? Why is everybody laughing about that?
Well, in those days, it had just gone up from 45 overs to 46 overs.
Yeah.
And invariably, Stuart and John Morris would bowl 46 overs. And it was very rare that you wanted them to come off. But nevertheless, people who bowled were not always happy about that. But that was the way it was then. You could bowl 23 overs. And unless they did something daft, invariably they'd bowl between 15 and 23 overs each, and then open the batting.
Yeah. Stuart, you just touched on Derbyshire seconds, or rather, Chappers did for us. Were you ever? Did you feel that you'd have a chance in county cricket? No.
I didn't want to anyway. I didn't. No.
Right.
No.
Was it a higher standard playing that second?
Well, let's say I played with Jeff Miller, Harry Cartwright, Alan Hill. It was quite the captain. Who? Boris, Tony Borrington.
So most of the
John
side
Harvey
that formed the 70s batting line up there.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent.
And incidentally, so did John Morris.
Yeah.
Yes, of course. So what are your roles now at Quarndon? Are you able to sit back and watch these young lads tearing around and doing the slides on the boundary, or do you sit in the bar?
I still come up and watch. My son still plays, so I still come up and watch after I play golf on a Saturday. And Stuart comes up. He's not been up so much this last year.
No, we're going to come up this year.
Yeah. But still enjoy coming up there.
I know we're going to talk in interviews to come about the game at Lords. Were you two playing?
I wasn't. Stuart was.
Stuart. So in 1983,
yeah.
Quarndon won the National Village competition, beating Troon, I think, who'd won it in the 70s.
Yeah, they were the favourites.
They were a good side. Yeah. So I can't not ask you about that particular day. Was it a good day for you personally? And B, what was it like? Had you played at Lords before? Was this your one and only time at Lords? What was it like?
Yeah, very good. We had a great time. You know, just put the cricket on one side. The club, the people that went to Lords had a great time. I mean, the sponsors were Whitbreads, and they did it right. And the night before the game, I mean, we were booked into the Lords Hotel, which is across the road, if you know, on the roundabout. Yeah. And we went to the old brewery, Whitbread Brewery, had a wonderful dinner, and with the old England team on the tables, and Troon. Yep. Troon didn't drink. They were under orders not to drink. We drank. No, seriously, we did, didn't we? Got all. I mean,
took all the slack.
Yeah. What they didn't drink.
Yeah, and I'm quite proud to say that I was with Andy Acton the last to go to bed. I don't know how I managed to do it, but I was the last to go to bed, and it was about 2 o'clock. I did wake up with a bit of sore head the next morning. The next morning was fabulous because you had breakfast and whatever, and then you get taken to Lords on the drays, you know, and that was phenomenal.
And what was the format of the game?
40 overs.
40 overs.
Yeah, with
8
8 overs. That's right.
Is it the old John Player League?
Yeah. And I think Bob won the toss. Well, we had nets, and that was quite interesting.
Yeah, it was
Fun.
9 overs, wasn't it? Not 8.
9 overs. That's
4
right.
9, yeah, 4 9.
Yeah, 5 and 4.
Somebody bowled 4.
And we won the toss. We actually fielded very well. Would you agree, Hibby? In the back, yeah. And our 2 slow bowlers did the damage. Ralph Taylor, who's no longer with us, which is great for him, and Frank Butcher, who no longer lives in this country. And we did well. We restricted them to what was the score? 1-5. And
you opened the batting, presumably.
Yeah. And we did
get a score?
Yeah, got 38, I think.
Excellent.
Or 36, I can't remember. But we did it with how many runs to spare, Hibby?
4 balls.
4 balls to spare. It was just a good day, and we got, you know, even at lunchtime, everybody enjoyed the lunch before the game. I certainly know one person who's no longer with us enjoyed the lunch, and that was Ralph Taylor.
Right.
He really got stuck into the meat and potato, didn't you hear me? Meat and potato pie. And then afterwards, when I was telling you this, afterwards we went across the road to the Lord's Hotel where we had a few more drinks, and then we went on the coach up the motorway. We had to stop at about the first service station, and I remember we had the trophy, right, and our comedian Martin Tunley put it down in the middle of this service station and hopped round and cocked his leg up, and it was just amazing. We didn't get back till about 2 o'clock, whatever, and some of us played cricket the next day at Dunstall.
And there must have been a lot of celebrity surrounding that, because winning that trophy was there any footage of it, incidentally? Was there any recording?
We've got, I know 2 people, I know one that's definitely got a video of it.
Really?
Yeah. And you said there was,
The buses went. I went down on the bus. I wasn't playing, but I went down.
Right, so people from the village went down to support.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people went. There was about 3 or 4 thousand?
Really?
Yeah, there was a lot. There was a lot.
Wow.
I mean, there was a bus went from Albert. Simon Thompson and a crew went from Albert.
Well,
The
Eh?
Lot of singing in front of the old
I
tavern.
suspect we're going to get some more on this subject.
Oh, you will, yeah.
Next,
I'm right in saying that the league was cancelled. That one. Am I right?
I don't know.
Derby, I think.
No, we were allowed to.
We did, I think. Yeah.
Well, gents, on that note, I think we'll just pause for a moment. But first of all, it's been a fascinating first 20 minutes. Thank you very much indeed.